guys, welcome. This is Shay Jose coming back at you with another tutorial. Today we'll be doing a little bit of a breakdown of the lead sound of the new Fideles track, Night After Night, featuring Bino Rain. The track is not actually out at the moment, so this was a little bit of a difficult one to actually recreate because most of the sound sources where I could reference this track are actually from a live performance by the guys. So it was a little bit difficult to try and decipher, but I think I got pretty close. If you don't know the track, I'll just play a little snippet of it. Not too much because I don't want to get copyright striked, but I'll let you hear what the song sounds like. Slowly descend. So that's the sound. So we're going to be concentrating on that kind of sharp, sort of metallic sort of sound. So I'll let you hear my recreation. I think it's pretty close. It's not exactly the same. Like I said, it's pretty hard trying to recreate something when the track is not out to get a really, really clean sort of sound and be able to make those fine adjustments. But I think I got it pretty close. Now I did it with 2 layers across Serum. And I'll let you hear what that sounds like first, and then we'll break down how it was put together. So it's pretty close. It's not exactly the same. I think they might be using another maybe detuned, maybe a 3rd layer perhaps, or another VST which maybe has 3 oscillators, so you can detune a 3rd one. Either way, let's see how we go. So what I did is I actually grabbed one of my existing presets of one of my tracks. So what we might do is just turn off all the processing, and we'll just start from the beginning and see how we go. So we just I've actually just imported 2 wavetables, 2 monster wavetables here, which I'll make available. But I can't remember. I actually think I got this from another preset pack. Which I then imported these wavetables and started playing around with them. So it's pretty simple. There's not much to it really. So what I've really done is imported each one of these sounds into each one of the oscillators. We just run a single voice of unison on each one. We're grabbing a sub. We're running a sub here, 2 octaves lower. And this is only just to give kind of a little bit more of that sort of bass sound that the original Fideles lead seems to have. We've got an envelope running here, which is just pretty much all the settings are default except for the decay and the sustain. And we're routing that to a low 18 filter, which then allows the sound to open up and the filter to open up every single time the sound hits. So we're also running a ARP white noise here, and we're routing that back down to the filter as well. So in this envelope here, we're only really opening up the cutoff. But if we start having a look at envelope 2, which has got a much sharper decay and sustain, this is allowing us to open up that kind of white noise as well every single time the note is actually played. We are running some distortion in here. Nothing too crazy. A little bit of distortion with diode 1, a little bit of reverb, and hyperdimension. So nothing too crazy on those guys. And the only other thing that we're doing is I'm just running 2 different LFO shapes routing across onto each one of the oscillators. So LFO1 is routing to oscillator B, just to give the noise a little bit of movement as it plays. And vice versa on LFO2, we're running this to oscillator A to give that noise, that sound a little bit more movement. So together, without any other processing except what's internally in here, this sounds like this. Now the only other thing I would say is you might just want to actually, if need be, remove the fundamentals from here. If you don't know how to do that, you can actually just go into the waveform and where was it? I think it's remove fundamental, high pass filter here. In case you do have some phasing issues, you can do this on each one of the waveforms. But for now, I've just left it on there. Further to this, we just added some overdrive, a little bit of EQ, and I've added a clipper just to chop off some of those tips because they're really pushing the sound forward. So all of that together sounds like this. And this is kind of the lower layer, that crunch sort of layer that you hear in the sound. Move on to the next one. So we'll just turn all this processing off here, which we're not actually using. I'm not actually using this effect Rex either here. We're just running a serum, just initialized patch, nothing too, pretty simple. It's just the default waveform in here. Just running some white noise once again, and we're using the low 12 filter. 6 voices of unison on each one. And what we're doing is just adding envelope 1 with a little bit of decay, a little bit of sustained into the filter. Further to this, we're also running the same envelope onto the white noise to actually open up that white noise, a little bit of drive and a little bit of fat onto that noise as well. Not running any other LFOs in here. And then in the effects tab, we're just running some hyperdimension, some distortion, a little bit of flanger and chorus. So I'll leave the settings up there so you can copy them as you see fit. Just pause the screen. And all together, these guys sound like this. Further to this, just adding a little bit of overdrive to taste, not too much, 27% there. Drive about 40% and about 58% on the tone. And some OTT to really push up those upper harmonics. Then I've grouped both channels in here together into a single bus. Put a little bit of saturator in there with a hard curve, and I've created an effects chain in here. If you don't know how to do this, you just go right click and go create chain. I created a dry chain that has nothing, and we're using this chain, which is the reverb and the delay, to actually side chain back to the dry signal. So that basically allows the tail of the reverb to come through after the note has finished playing. So we're running some Valhalla reverb in here, mix 100%, only 0.33 seconds of decay. I'm using a EQ8 EQ to basically filter out any reverbs from the low end and the high end. Now you can do this inside Valhalla as well, but I prefer just using the EQ8 here. And last but not least, running a compressor and side chaining this back into the lead bus before the effects chain. And what this will do is actually allow the, as mentioned before, allow the reverb to come through only after the sound has actually played. Now, if we play all of them together again, it should sound something like this. So that's my rendition of it. I think it got pretty close, maybe not exact. Like I said, it's a bit hard to actually get the exact sound. You can also play with some of the voicing in here. I've got an octave higher on oscillator B here on the first sound. So you can pop this down and maybe see how that kind of sounds. One thing I forgot to mention is I am using a fine tune here by 7. Just to give it a little bit more differentiation between the first oscillator. So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. It's a very quick tutorial, but like I said, I'll try to get as close to it as possible. Once the song is out, I'll have another look and see if I can even get closer to it, but all the sound titles and clippings that I've been able to find have just been of them playing this track out live, which makes it kind of hard to actually differentiate between them, exactly how the synth sounds, and all the noise coming from the audience. Anyways,